In the quiet corners of forgotten towns, where life meanders at a gentle pace, secrets often lie buried beneath the veneer of normalcy. Our story begins in such a place, a seemingly unremarkable town, where the everyday hum was slowly, almost imperceptibly, being replaced by a chilling silence. A silence born not of peace, but of absence. At its heart stood an apartment building, a structure of ordinary brick and mortar, blending seamlessly into the urban landscape. From the outside, it offered no hint of the dread that would soon infest its very foundations. Just another building, where lives intertwined, or so it seemed. But within its walls, a disturbing pattern began to emerge. One by one, residents started to vanish. Not dramatically, not loudly, but quietly, inexplicably, as if swallowed by the very air they breathed. Missing persons reports piled up, each one a stark testament to a growing terror. The local police, usually so adept at untangling the knots of crime, found themselves at a complete loss. They searched every corner, every crevice. The hallways, clean and unassuming, offered no clues. No cameras, no forced entries, no signs of a struggle. It was as if these people simply ceased to be. Enter Hiba, a young, tenacious journalist with a mind sharp as a razor and a gaze that missed nothing. She arrived in town, drawn by the unsettling whispers and the baffling official reports. She sought not just a story, but answers, a truth hidden behind the impossible. Hiba moved into the very building itself, an act of calculated bravery. Her small apartment, a temporary base of operations, became her sanctuary and her trap. She meticulously arranged her notes, her recorder, her cameras, preparing to peel back the layers of this deepening mystery. Her first night in the building was a symphony of stillness. The unfamiliar quiet of the apartment pressed in around her, amplifying every creak, every distant murmur. She lay awake, senses heightened, listening to the building breathe, unaware of the insidious presence stirring within its walls. As the clock hands crept towards the early hours, a profound sense of unease settled over her. The digital display of her bedside clock glowed faintly, 1:14 a.m., a time that would soon etch itself into her memory, a timestamp of dread. Then a sound, slow, heavy, deliberate, footsteps, outside her door. Hiba's breath hitched, every muscle tensed, her ears strained, trying to discern the rhythm, the source, the meaning of these phantom steps. The footsteps continued, each thud a hammer blow to her racing heart. They moved with an unnatural weight, a dragging resonance that seemed to vibrate through the very floorboards beneath her. They paused, directly outside her door. The silence that followed was suffocating. With a surge of adrenaline fueled by journalistic curiosity and a creeping fear, Hiba crept towards her door. Her hand trembled slightly as she reached for the handle, slowly, carefully, twisting it open just a crack. The hallway beyond was utterly empty, pristine, unchanging. The same bland wallpaper, the same dull carpet. No one, nothing. Her eyes scanned the length of the corridor, searching for any sign, any shadow, but there was only void. But then, her gaze snagged on something impossible. Her eyes widened, focusing, refocusing. A cold dread snaked its way up her spine. It couldn't be real. It simply couldn't. There, where plain wall should have been, a staircase. It materialized from the air itself, an ancient, dark structure of rough stone steps cutting downwards into the floor. A stark, terrifying anomaly in a perfectly normal hallway. The staircase plunged into an abyss, a bottomless, inky blackness that seemed to absorb all light, all sound, all hope. It beckoned, a silent invitation to an unknown fate, its presence a defiant challenge to reality. The morning light brought no comfort, only the stark memory of the impossible. Hiba, sleep-deprived and shaken, tried to rationalize, to find a logical explanation for what she had witnessed. But logic failed her. She sought out the building's landlord, a man whose face was etched with the weariness of managing an old building. She described, meticulously, the impossible apparition, hoping for an explanation, for a confirmation of her sanity. The landlord's expression remained impassive, almost dismissive. His words were firm, unyielding. "There is no staircase in this building. You must be imagining things, young lady. Perhaps the move has you a little stressed." Back in her apartment, the landlord's denial echoed hollowly. Hiba knew what she saw. The image of the dark stairs was burned into her mind. The rational world was trying to erase her experience, but the terror was undeniable. The second night, the waiting was worse. The clock's glow at 1:14 a.m. felt like a countdown. She braced herself, heart hammering against her ribs, for the inevitable. The air crackled with anticipation. And, punctually, precisely as the minute hand aligned, it reappeared, the impossible staircase. This time it felt closer. Its dark, shadowy form seemed to have advanced, intruding further into the hallway, a relentless invasion. Hiba felt a chill that had nothing to do with the temperature, a primal fear, a cold dread that began to seep into her bones. Her carefully constructed journalistic detachment was eroding, replaced by pure, unadulterated terror. On the third night, she no longer questioned its reality. She simply waited. Waited for the inevitable appearance, the relentless march of the impossible. The apartment building now felt less like a home and more like a cage, or a stage for an unfolding nightmare. True to its chilling pattern, the staircase materialized again, closer still. Now it was alarmingly near her door, its first step almost touching her threshold. Its darkness seemed deeper, more ancient, a gaping maw in the familiar hallway. Hiba meticulously documented everything in her journal: dates, times, observations, her escalating fear. She wrote as if her sanity depended on it, trying to ground herself in facts, even as reality unraveled around her. The fourth night arrived, bringing with it a suffocating sense of finality. This time, the fear was almost paralyzing. She knew something more was coming. The staircase wasn't just appearing, it was approaching. As 1:14 a.m. struck, the staircase was practically against her door. And then, at its summit, a figure coalesced from the shadows. Tall, gaunt, its presence radiated an unnatural cold. Its skin was an unnatural, sickly pale, almost translucent in the dim, otherworldly light. But it was its mouth that truly horrified her. Stretched open too wide, a grotesque, silent scream frozen in its terrifying visage. From its distended mouth, a sound emerged. Not a single voice, but a cacophony. Several voices, whispering, groaning, intertwining into a chilling, distorted chorus, an unholy symphony. The composite voice spoke, a chilling pronouncement that seemed to vibrate through her very soul. "We found her. She sees the way down." And as it spoke, a skeletal hand began to extend towards her. Hiba gasped, recoiling violently, scrambling backwards into her apartment. Her mind screamed for her to run, to escape this impossible horror. But the figure, relentlessly, continued its slow, deliberate reach. As she tried to flee, the apartment building around her began to warp. Walls stretched and twisted, hallways elongated into dizzying tunnels, defying the very laws of physics. The familiar turned monstrous. Lights flickered erratically, casting grotesque, dancing shadows that mocked her attempts to escape. The once sturdy walls seemed to breathe, to pulse with an unseen malevolent energy, disorienting her completely. Doors that moments ago offered an escape route now vanished, dissolving into the distorted architecture, leaving her trapped. Every avenue of escape was sealed, leaving only one terrifying path open. An unseen force, undeniable and powerful, began to pull her. She struggled, fought against it with every ounce of her strength, but it was useless. She was being drawn inexorably towards the impossible staircase. Her phone, clutched in her hand, dropped to the floor, still recording. The screen showed her, wide-eyed and screaming, being dragged down the ancient steps, her terror a raw, visceral sound against the encroaching darkness. But the recording, playing back later, would reveal a horrifying distortion. The image on the screen was not of a struggling, screaming woman. Instead, it showed Hiba walking calmly, serenely down the stairs. Her face on the recording was serene, a faint, unsettling smile playing on her lips. And then her voice, clear and calm, a whisper chilling in its unnatural peace. "I'm home." The next morning,